Hey guys, Rick from Over the Fender Garage. Well, we've got the bumpers pretty much knocked out. See all the rough ends done on them. I've got them off the truck now. Truck sitting on the ground. It's nice to see it sitting on its full suspension. But I went ahead and I put the hood and the cowl and all this stuff back on. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna finish out the bodywork on the hood, the cowl, and the roof. So I got some dents to pull out of the tailgate. I haven't done that yet. But we'll get this part done. I've got all the front end pretty much put together here. I got the wheel wells in it. So I can test fit everything. I can measure up for the wheels. And so one thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to take the Chevy emblem off the grill. I'm going to fill that and cut that out. And I'm going to get rid of the parking lights. And the parking lights will be in the headlights. But other than that, it's all coming along nicely. I got the little spots left from where the bumpers were on all four corners and the rear valance. So get those finished out. And a little bit of work to do inside the jams, but not much. But we'll get on knocking this piece out. Get the body work done. Good coat primer on it. Alright, I've got this front piece all done. I did this with short strand fiberglass on here because it had quite a bit of damage along this front piece. There's a little bit of, couple of dents and stuff in it. So to kind of ensure that none of this will come back for a long time, and it's a lot stronger, I've used a short strand in here. Got that all nice. Front of the hood is going to take some abuse from rocks and stuff, just driving down the road. So that's all fixed up and ready to go for its final sanding with regular filler. And I got a couple of dents. I got a dent right here. I have a dent in this corner. I'm gonna get a little bit on. I did the cowl with some of the fiberglass too, and I did the front of the windshield, the top, because it had a little step in there. I didn't want to put filler in there, so put the fiberglass in that. That'll seal it all up. Stuff's waterproof, so it'll help. But I run around and get those couple of spots. I can start doing out the roof and getting the hood done here. All right, I've pretty much gone around and done all my body work on everything. Now the last little thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to check everything to make sure. You learn how to do this because you can read it with your hand. You'll be able to feel anything. But when you get to the point you can't feel anything, I have a piece right here. This is a piece of 3/4 EMT electrical conduit metal that I've taken and put some knobs on it so I can hold it, and it's perfectly straight. So if you take this, all the body work's done. I can sand on it, and this will show me any spot. If you're going for a perfectly smooth finish, use this bar. Just gently sand on it. I'm not really applying any pressure. I'm letting the sandpaper do all the work. You see if it's showing up on there or not. But I got a low spot right here. And that's the full width of the door. You can't feel it. But if you look at it with something like this, it's showing that there's a real small low spot in this whole area. So I can take this and I can sand that out of there. We're taking this spot off and then work over to this spot. That way I'm not touching anything in the middle as much as possible and just knocking out that high spot. And then what this is good for too is anything like this. You do exactly the same thing. Work these out. And it'll work everything out. I got another little trick. But I use, instead of buying guide coat, spending all kinds of money on that stuff, chalk. Construction chalk that's red. Wipe some on there. This works great. You're doing the same thing if you can't really read it with your hand. And this will show you exactly where you gotta fix. Been doing this for a long time, just using that chalk. And this will show exactly where's low or where's high. Now you can see the center spot I'm talking about. That's a little low, it's a little high. So I'll sand this spot out first. I'll sand this spot out next. Kind of work myself into the middle of it. Don't really want to push on it. You don't want to use any force. You gotta make sure that this is straight. Keep this in a good spot. Work it off the edges, open the door. Watch out that you're not crashing in to the fender or the door post. But it works great any place that's flat. Long spots. Quarter panel on the truck could work great. The door, even the top of the fender will work nice. And then when you're for doing the fender areas like this, you can do the same thing with the chalk. You just run just a normal Durablock. Long sweeps, long 45s. Keep it sharp on that. It'll come out perfect. Very, very little, if any, ripples in any of it. And then when I'm done, I just take the piece of sandpaper and use my fingers, just like this, with no pressure. Just let the sandpaper do it. No block or nothing. You'll take any little ripple that's in there out of there. Basically, I got to do that to the truck and then run over it again with a 120, then probably a 180. I'll have to see what my primer says for the final sanding. But get this part done. I hit it with the 120. I think it's 180. I'll have to look at the thing. But that's what I got to do. Finish it up. It's ready for primer. Hope to get it into the booth and get it primered up today or tomorrow. So I'm gonna run this out real quick. there she is. She is in the booth, ready to get primered. So I've gone over everything. I've fixed the spots that weren't done yet. Going over the whole thing with a 240 grit. So it all came out pretty nice. Everything that's like the doors and the quarters where I could, I sanded it with my long bar. I gotta clean the inside a little bit before I primer it. But everything else is basically done. So the roof. Got a few pinholes here and there, but they'll show themselves after I get a couple coats of primer on it and go after all that. Finish detailing out the bodywork. But right now with the so many colors on it, it's hard to tell. These little splotches. So that'll even everything out. Give it a quick sand. Go after the few that are left. There's a couple pinholes right there. A couple pinholes there. Not too many. Came out pretty good. But as soon as I get the primer on it, I'll be able to see more of it. But she is nice. She is ready to go. It's gonna be nice to see it one color. But let's shoot some primer on this bad boy. Well, there it is, all primed up. Came out looking pretty nice, Got a couple of spots. This is what primer will show you. Little spot right there needs to be fixed. You see some pinholes there. And there's pinholes there, a couple there. A couple right there. Little spot on the gutter that's not finished. Do that. Darker primers will show more of what needs to be fixed than lighter primers. So I always do a dark primer. See, there's some right there. But overall, it came out pretty good. There's some more right there. So, next thing to do now is go over and get the pinholes. Hard to get them all. But overall, it came out pretty nice. This is where my mirrors go. I have plugs in there so they don't fill up with paint or body filler or anything. So I can yank those out of there. Oh, let's see, a pinhole right there. But there's a hood scoop I'm going to use. It looks pretty good on there. I like it. So now what I'll do is I will go after all these pinholes. I will not sand the primer. I'll fill these pinholes in and then sand the primer. So if you sand the primer right now, you're going to get primer inside all these pinholes. So it makes them harder to fill. Because then you get the primer in there, you can't get the primer out. You've got to wash it and go through a bunch of crap. So go ahead and fill them all right now and then sand it. It gets them easier, plus they're easier to see. But overall, it really, really came out nice. It's not perfect. Let's say it's going to be driven. So I didn't go for no show finish on stuff. But it'll look damn good either way. See, there's a little spot right there. But overall, I'm happy with it. I think it came out looking pretty good. I did my bumpers. I just shot a coat on here. I still got to cut this kind of stuff off. But I just wanted to get a coat on them so I can see. See, there's a spot that needs to be fixed. A couple other spots. So now I can take and trim this all off. Plus it makes this kind of stuff easier to see. We've got to cut it at. So I'll get these all cut. Ready to go back on the truck for their final fitting before I turn them into a mold. But they came out pretty good. So I still got to finish this area here. I didn't finish that out. This one's not finished out. But for the most part, they are done. Just got to trim them all up, fit them back on the truck, and then turn them into molds. So we'll get on that. And next thing I'll probably end up doing here is I'll probably jump on doing the brakes, fuel lines, that kind of stuff. Get all that run hooked up. Because weather's going to go to crap. So really can't do anything else on the primering side. So I did do some of the floor, the spots that were naked. Got some paint on them. Just so nothing starts to rust while I'm working on it. Gets humid and rains and stuff. So got some of that primed up. But I think that the next thing I'll do, I'll go ahead and jump on roughing in the brakes. I have a hydro boost for this one. I didn't know if this motor would produce enough vacuum to have a vacuum. So plus I've been having problems with it. I've got other vehicles that I put the boosters on and the boosters quit working too damn soon for as expensive as they are. So this one, I have a hydro boost system for it. So I'm gonna get the hydro boost all in there, get the brake lines run, fuel lines run, fuel regulator, all that kind of stuff. I still gotta do the fuel tank. I'm not putting it in the bed floor. I can't stand that. Plus, if you have something in the bed, then you can't get gas into it. So I have a side filler tank. So I'm trying to figure out where. If I'm going to put the filler right here, I might do the hidden filler in the tail light. So I haven't quite figured out exactly what I'm going to do for that. But I am going to cut a hole here for the fuel pump. So I don't have to drop the tank, being that I have that wraparound exhaust system. I don't want to have to drop the exhaust system off to drop the tank to get in there to service fuel pump. So I will cut an inspection hole for the fuel pump. So that's easy to work on. I got some of the spots in the bed fixed. It's not a big deal. I'm not really worried about the bed floor. But one part is getting that in there. It's basically just pulling together a bunch of loose ends. Stuff like the steering shaft and all that. I've got all that stuff done. Columns all mounted up. I got videos of that, I just haven't published them yet. Geez, what else? I got the wiring harness and the computer is all up in here. I put the computer right here. What else here? Other than that, everything else is going pretty good. So I think that is the next thing to. So I got to get the cylinder on for the clutch, but I got to get the hybrid boost down there first, so I know where to put the slave cylinder for that. It's just kind of a bunch of loose ends. We just need to start dragging them all together here. So we'll get on to doing some loose ends here.